far beyond the bright core worlds of the Empire, where the stars looked cold and distant. A small Imperial scout ship moved silently through space. It was a routine mission. The crew had done this many times before. They scanned empty regions, marked safe routes, and reported anything unusual. Most of the time, there was nothing. But today was different. The ship's captain, a calm and experienced officer named Aaron, stood at the command deck. He watched the main screen as stars slowly drifted by. Everything seemed normal. Too normal. "Status?" he asked. "All systems running fine," one officer replied. "No signs of life. No signals. Nothing unusual." Aaron nodded, but something felt wrong. He could not explain it. It was just a feeling deep inside him, like a quiet warning. Then suddenly, "Captain," another officer shouted. "We have something on the long-range scanners." The room went silent. Aaron turned quickly. "Show me." The main screen changed. At first, it showed nothing but darkness. Then slowly, a shape appeared. It was far away, barely visible, like a shadow against the stars. "What is that?" Aaron whispered. The officer shook his head. "Unknown, sir. It's massive." "How massive?" There was a pause. "Bigger than anything we've ever seen." Aaron stepped closer to the screen. The shape did not look like any known ship. It was not smooth like Imperial designs. It was not elegant or sharp. Instead, it looked heavy, solid, like it was built for strength, not beauty. "Zoom in," Aaron ordered. The image grew clearer. Now they could see more details. The ship was enormous, easily larger than a full Imperial fleet carrier. Its surface looked layered, almost like thick armor plates stacked together. "Energy readings?" Aaron asked. The officer checked again, then froze. "Sir, I think something is wrong with the scanners." "What do you mean?" "The energy levels don't make sense. They are too high. Much too high." Aaron frowned. "Fix the scanners." "They're working, sir," the officer said slowly. "That's the problem." The room became quiet again. Everyone stared at the screen. The unknown ship just floated there, silent and still. "Is it active?" Aaron asked. No movement detected. No weapons charging. No signals. "So, it's just sitting there?" "Yes, sir." Aaron crossed his arms. His mind raced. Could this be an ancient ship? A lost relic from a forgotten civilization? The Empire had found old ruins before, but never anything like this. "Send a probe," he said. The officers hesitated for a moment, then followed the order. A small drone launched from the scout ship. It moved quickly through space, heading toward the unknown object. Everyone watched closely. "Probe is halfway there," one officer reported. "Still no reaction from the object," another said. Aaron narrowed his eyes. "Keep going." The probe got closer. The giant ship began to look even more strange. It had no visible weapons, no glowing engines, no clear bridge or command center. It didn't look dead, but it didn't look alive either. "Probe is entering close range," the officer said. Then, the screen flickered. "Sir," the officer shouted. "We just lost the probe." "What?" Aaron stepped forward. "Explain." "It's gone. Completely disabled. No explosion. No signal. It just stopped." Aaron stared at the screen. The unknown ship had not moved. There was no flash, no beam, no sign of attack. Yet the probe was gone. "How is that possible?" someone whispered. No one had an answer. Aaron took a deep breath. "Scan again. Everything. I want full data." The crew worked fast. Seconds felt like minutes. Then another officer spoke, his voice shaking. "Captain, I think it noticed us." Aaron turned sharply. "What do you mean?" "The ship, it just changed position." Everyone looked at the screen. The massive warship was no longer in the same place. It had moved. Not slowly. Not like a normal ship. It was just somewhere else now. Closer. Much closer. A cold feeling ran through the room. "That's impossible," Aaron said under his breath. The distance between them and the unknown ship was now dangerously small. And still, there were no engine trails. No energy spikes. No warning. It was like the ship had simply decided to be closer. "Captain," the officer said quietly, "we are detecting something else." "What now?" "A signal." Aaron's heart beat faster. "From the ship?" "Yes, sir." "Put it on screen." The crew quickly followed the command. At first, there was only static. Then slowly, the signal became clear. It was not a language they recognized, but the pattern it felt organized. Intentional. "This is not random," Aaron said. "It's a message." "But from who?" someone asked. Aaron looked at the massive ship on the screen. He had a feeling. A very bad feeling. "Prepare to send this data back to the Empire," he said.
"Now."
"Yes, sir." As the transmission began, the unknown warship stayed silent, watching. For the first time in many years, the Empire's scouts had found something they did not understand. Something impossible. And far away, deep within that giant ship, something had just woken up. The report reached the Empire's Central Command within hours. Deep inside a massive station, far from the outer edges of space, high-ranking officers gathered in a large room. The walls were filled with screens showing data from the scout ship. Every detail was being studied carefully. At the center stood Commander Hale, a serious man known for his sharp thinking. He watched the recordings again and again. The unknown warship filled the main screen. Silent. Still. Impossible. "Play the probe incident again," Hale said. An officer nodded. The video replayed. The small Imperial probe moved closer to the giant ship. Everything seemed normal until suddenly it stopped. No explosion. No warning. It just went dead. Hale narrowed his eyes. "There's no weapon fire." "No, sir," the officer replied. "No heat, no energy beam, no visible attack." "Then how is it destroyed?" The room stayed quiet. Another officer spoke carefully. "Sir, we believe it wasn't destroyed." Hale turned. "Explain." "It was turned off." Hale frowned. "Turned off?" "Yes, sir. Like someone flipped a switch." A low murmur spread across the room. "That's not possible," someone said. Hale raised his hand, and the room became silent again. "Continue analysis." More data appeared on the screens. Numbers, graphs, and strange patterns filled the room. "Energy readings?"
Hale asked.
A scientist stepped forward. "Sir, we have confirmed the readings." And the scientist hesitated. "They are beyond anything we have ever seen." "How far beyond?" The scientist swallowed. "At least 100 times stronger than our largest warship." The room went completely still. "That must be wrong," an officer said quickly. "Check again." "We did," the scientist replied. "Multiple times." Hale stared at the screen. The massive ship looked even more dangerous now. "Is it charging weapons?" he asked.
"No, sir."
"The energy is stable. It's not preparing to attack." "Then why does it need that much power?" No one could answer. Another officer stepped forward. "Commander, there is more." Hale nodded. "Go on." "We studied its movement." The screen changed again. It showed the moment the unknown ship moved closer to the scout ship. "Zoom in," Hale said. The image focused on the exact moment of movement. "There are no engine trails," the officer explained. "No acceleration. No time delay." Hale leaned forward. "What does that mean?" The officer took a deep breath. "It didn't travel through space." "Then how did it move?" The officer looked nervous. "It changed position instantly." A heavy silence filled the room. "That is impossible," someone whispered. Hale did not speak for a few seconds. His mind worked quickly, trying to understand. "Are you saying it can teleport?" he finally asked. "We don't know what to call it, sir," the officer replied. "But it is not normal movement." Hale looked back at the warship on the screen. For the first time, he felt something unusual. Uncertainty. "Show me the signal," he said. The audio from the scout ship began to play. Strange sounds filled the room. It was not noise. It had structure like a language. "Has it been decoded?"
Hale asked.
"Not yet, sir," a technician said. "But we are working on it." "Any patterns?"
"Yes."
"It repeats certain signals. It looks like communication." Hale crossed his arms.
"So it's not just a machine."
"Someone is controlling it." "Yes, sir." Do we know who? The technician shook his head. No clear identification. Hale turned away from the screen and walked slowly across the room. Let's review, he said. We have a massive unknown warship. It has energy levels far beyond our technology. It can disable targets without visible weapons. And it can move instantly through space. He stopped and faced the team. And we don't know who built it. No one spoke. After a moment, another officer stepped forward. Commander, there is one more detail. Hale looked at him. What is it? The signal includes a small data tag. What kind of tag? A signature. Hale's eyes narrowed. From where? The officer hesitated, then answered. It appears to be human. The room reacted immediately. That's impossible. Humans? They're not advanced. They don't have this kind of technology. Voices filled the room, full of disbelief. Hale raised his hand again. Silence returned. Are you certain? He asked. The officer nodded slowly. Yes, sir. The pattern matches known human communication styles. Hale looked back at the screen. The giant warship remained still, like it was waiting. Humans, he said quietly. In the Empire's records, humans were a minor species.
Weak.
Divided. Not a threat. But this was not weak. This changes everything, Hale said. What are your orders, Commander? An officer asked. Hale thought for a moment. Then he spoke clearly. Send a message to the High Council. Full alert. Yes, sir. And prepare a response fleet. The officers looked at him in surprise. You believe it's hostile? One asked. Hale shook his head slowly. I don't know what it is, he said. And that is the problem. He looked at the warship one last time. For the first time in the Empire's long history, they were facing something they could not understand. Something that did not follow their rules. Something impossible. The news spread quickly across the Empire. At first, many did not believe it. The idea sounded like a mistake. A broken scanner. A false report. But the data was clear, and it came from multiple systems. The unknown warship was real. And the signal, it pointed to humans. Inside the Central Command Station, Commander Hale stood with the High Council. They were the most powerful leaders in the Empire. Old, wise, and proud. They had ruled for centuries without fear. But today, the room felt different. Play the signal again, one of the council members said. The strange sound filled the room once more.
Calm.
Repeating. Organized. It does not sound like a threat, another member said. Hale nodded slightly. No, it does not. Then what is it? A third asked. Hale looked at the screen. A message. But we don't understand it yet. A technician stepped forward. We have made progress, sir. Speak, Hale said. We compared the signal with known human languages. It is not an exact match, but there are similarities. Patterns. Structure. The room grew quiet. You are certain it is human? A council member asked. As certain as we can be, the technician replied. A low voice came from the end of the table. That is not possible. All eyes turned to the oldest member of the council. His voice was calm but strong. Humans are not capable of this, he continued. They are a young species. Divided.
Weak.
Their technology is far behind ours. Many nodded in agreement. Hale stepped forward. That is what we believed. The old council member looked at him. And you doubt it now? Hale paused for a moment. Yes. The word hung in the air. Hale walked toward the main screen. The massive warship appeared again, floating silently in space. This ship is not just advanced, Hale said. It breaks our understanding of science. Its energy, its movement, its control, none of it matches human capability. Then, it is not human, another council member said quickly. Hale shook his head. But the signal says otherwise. Silence filled the room again. Could it be stolen technology? Someone suggested. Or a trap, another added. Or a mistake, a third said. Hale turned to them. We have checked the data many times. This is not a mistake. He pointed at the screen. That ship disabled our probe without damage. It moved across space instantly. And it has energy levels far beyond our strongest fleets. He took a deep breath. And it is sending a signal that matches human patterns. The council members exchanged uneasy looks. "Bring up human records," the old member ordered. The screen changed. Information about humans appeared. Images showed a world with oceans and land, cities filled with light, ships moving slowly between stars. "This is humanity," the old member said. "A species that still struggles with itself. They fight among each other. They lack unity." Another member nodded. "Their ships are simple. Their weapons are weak." Hale watched the images carefully. "Yes," he said. "That is what we know." He turned back to the warship image. "But this does not match." The difference was clear. The human ships in the records were small and basic. The unknown warship was massive and powerful. It did not look like something humans could build. "Commander," one council member said, "what if this is only one ship?" Hale looked at him. "What do you mean?" "What if the humans somehow created a single advanced warship? A special project. Something secret." The idea spread quickly through the room. "Yes, that could explain it. A hidden development. A surprise weapon." Hale considered it. "It is possible," he said slowly. "But if they can build one—"
He stopped.
"They can build more," he finished. The room became tense. Another technician stepped forward. "Sir, the signal has changed." Hale turned quickly. "Show me." The audio played again. This time, it was clearer. The pattern had shifted. It was more direct, more focused. "Can you translate it?"
Hale asked.
"We are trying," the technician said. "We believe it is simplifying itself."
Adapting.
"Adapting to us?" a council member asked. "Yes." That made the room even more uneasy. "Why would it do that?" someone whispered. Hale answered quietly. "To be understood." The signal played again. Then, for the first time, a single sound became clear. Not a full word, not a sentence, just a fragment. But it was enough. "Human?" The room froze. Everyone looked at each other. "It said it," the technician whispered. "It said human." A chill ran through the council chamber. The old member leaned forward. "So, it is true." Hale nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. Far away, in the cold darkness of space, the massive warship remained still, watching, waiting. And now the Empire finally understood one thing. This was not an unknown alien threat. This was human. But it was not the humanity they thought they knew. Something had changed. Something big. And whatever it was, it had arrived. The High Council did not agree for long. At first, there was fear,
Confusion.
questions without answers. But slowly, something else began to grow inside the chamber.
Pride.
The Empire had ruled the galaxy for centuries. No one had ever challenged them and survived. They had seen rising species before. They had crushed them easily. To them, humans were no different. Commander Hale stood silently as the council members argued. "This is only one ship," one of them said. "We should not panic." "Yes," another agreed. "Even if it is powerful, it is still alone." "We control thousands of systems," a third added. "We have fleets far greater than this." Hale listened carefully, but he did not interrupt. The oldest council member spoke again. "Commander Hale, what do you think?" Hale looked at the screen. The human warship still floated there, silent and unmoving. "I think we are underestimating it," he said. Some council members frowned. "On what basis?" one asked. Hale turned to face them. "Because nothing about it makes sense. Its technology is beyond ours. Its actions are controlled. It has not attacked us, even when it could." "That is weakness," another member said quickly. "If it had power, it would use it." Hale shook his head. "Or, it is choosing not to." The room became quiet for a moment. Then one council member laughed softly. "Commander, you are letting fear guide your thinking." "I am letting evidence guide my thinking," Hale replied calmly. The old council member raised his hand again. "Enough." Everyone fell silent. "We cannot ignore this situation," he said. "But we also cannot show fear." He looked around the room. The Empire must act. Hale watched closely. He already knew what was coming. "We will send a fleet," the old member continued. "A strong one. Not our full power, but enough to deal with a single ship. Hale stepped forward. I advise caution. The council member looked at him. Explain. We should not attack immediately, Hale said. We should try to communicate, learn more, and give them time to prepare? Another member said sharply.
No.
They have already shown restraint, Hale replied. That means something. It means nothing, the same member said. It means they are afraid. Hale's eyes narrowed slightly, but he stayed calm. The old council member spoke again. The Empire does not wait. The Empire does not ask. We act. He turned to the officers. Prepare a battle group. 10 warships. 2 carriers. Full support. Yes, sir, the officers replied. Hale took a slow breath. Commander, the old member said, you will oversee this operation. Hale nodded. Understood. Your mission is simple, the council member continued. Approach the human vessel. Demand surrender. If they refuse, capture it. Capture? Hale repeated. Yes, the council member said. We want that ship. A few members smiled slightly. With that technology, our power will grow even stronger, one said. Hale said nothing. Deep inside, he felt something was wrong. Very wrong. But the decision was made. Far away, the Imperial fleet prepared for departure. Large warships moved into formation. Their engines glowed brightly as they powered up. Fighters were loaded into carriers. Weapon systems were checked and ready. It was a powerful force. More than enough for any normal enemy. Captain Rin, the leader of the fleet, stood on the bridge of the main warship. He was confident and proud. One unknown ship, he said with a small smile. This will be easy. His officers agreed. Yes, sir. No known vessel can match our firepower. Even if it is advanced, it cannot fight all of us. Rin nodded. Exactly. He looked at the screen showing the human warship's last known position. Send a message, he ordered. What should we say, sir? An officer asked. Rin thought for a moment, then spoke clearly. Unknown vessel. You are in Imperial space. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. The message was sent. Set course, Rin said. The fleet began to move. Stars stretched into lines as the ships jumped into faster-than-light travel. Back at Central Command, Hale watched everything. He stood alone now, looking at the fleet's movement on the screen. They are making a mistake, he said quietly. No one answered. He turned his attention to the human warship's signal. It was still active, still repeating, still calm. They warned us, Hale whispered. But no one had listened. Out in the darkness of space, the human warship remained in place, silent,
Still.
as if it already knew what was coming. The Imperial fleet would arrive soon. They came with confidence, with power, with pride. They believed they were in control. But they did not understand one thing. This was not a normal enemy. And this would not be a normal battle. For the first time in a very long time, the Empire was about to face something it could not overpower. The Imperial fleet arrived in silence. One moment, the region of space was empty and still. The next, 10 massive warships and 2 carriers appeared in formation. Their engines glowed softly as they slowed down, spreading out in a wide circle. At the center of that circle was the human warship. It had not moved. It waited. Captain Rin stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking at the giant vessel on the screen. For a brief second, even he felt something strange. The ship was bigger than he expected. Much bigger. But he quickly pushed the thought away. It's just one ship, he said firmly. Hold formation. Yes, sir, the officers replied. The fleet locked into position. Weapon systems came online. Targeting systems focused on the human warship. Still, there was no reaction. No movement, one officer reported. No weapons charging. Rin smiled slightly. They are scared. Should we fire, sir? Another asked. Rin shook his head.
No.
We give them one chance. He stepped forward. Open communication channel. The signal was sent. Unknown human vessel, Rin said, his voice calm but strong. You are surrounded by Imperial forces. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will be met with force. The message echoed across space. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, "Sir, we are receiving a response," an officer said. "Put it through." The same strange signal filled the room, but this time it was clearer, more structured. And then something changed. A voice.
Calm. Simple.
Controlled. "Do not engage." The bridge went silent. Rin frowned. "Is that translation correct?" "Yes, sir," the officer said. The voice continued. "We do not wish to harm you." Some officers exchanged confused looks. Rin's expression hardened. "Do not wish to harm us?" he repeated. "They are surrounded." The voice spoke again. "Leave this area. This is your only warning." A quiet tension filled the room. Rin let out a short laugh.
"A warning," he said.
"From a single ship?" He looked at his officers. "They think they can scare us." No one responded, but some faces showed doubt. Rin ignored it. "Final message," he said. "Transmit now." The communication officer nodded. "Human vessel, you have refused to comply. You will now be taken by force." The message was sent. Rin raised his hand. "All ships, prepare to fire." The fleet responded instantly. Weapons systems charged. Energy built up across every ship. Still, the human warship did not move. It did not raise shields. It did not charge weapons. It just stayed there, watching. "Fire." The command echoed across the fleet. In the next second, space exploded with light. Beams of energy shot forward from every direction. Missiles followed, moving fast and precise. The attack was overwhelming, more than enough to destroy any known target. The human warship was hit directly. A massive explosion filled the screen. For a moment, nothing could be seen. Rin smiled. "It's over," he said. But then, "Sir, something is wrong," an officer whispered. The smoke cleared. The human warship was still there, completely unharmed. No damage. No marks. No sign that it had even been hit. The entire bridge froze. "That's not possible," someone said. Rin's smile disappeared. "Fire again," he ordered. The fleet attacked once more. More beams. More missiles. Stronger this time. Again, direct hits. Again, a massive explosion. And again, nothing. The warship remained untouched. A cold silence filled the bridge. "How?" an officer asked quietly. Before anyone could answer, "Sir," another officer shouted. "We are losing control." Rin turned sharply. "What do you mean?" "Our systems, they are shutting down." Lights flickered across the bridge. Screens began to go dark. Engines offline. Weapons not responding. Shields failing. Panic spread quickly. Rin grabbed the console. "What is happening?" "No idea, sir. There is no attack signal. No hacking detected. It's just happening." One by one, every system failed. The massive warship fleets, powerful, advanced, unstoppable, were going dark. Completely. Outside, the same thing was happening. Every Imperial ship in the fleet suddenly stopped moving. Weapons powered down. Engines silent. Shields gone. They were floating, helpless. Rin stared at the screen. The human warship had not fired a single visible shot. Yet his entire fleet was disabled. "Report," he shouted. "Total system failure, sir," an officer said, his voice shaking. "We have no control." Rin felt something he had never felt before.
Fear.
The communication system flickered, then turned on again. The voice returned.
Calm.
Unchanged. "We warned you." No anger. No pride. Just simple truth. Rin could not speak. "You are not our enemy unless you choose to be." The message paused. "Do not make that choice again." Silence followed. Slowly, one by one, the Imperial ships began to regain power. Lights came back. Systems restarted. Engines responded. But no one moved. No one fired. No one spoke. The fleet remained still, frozen in shock. Rin stood quietly, staring at the human warship. It had not chased them. It had not destroyed them. It had simply stopped them. With ease. "Sir," an officer said softly. "Orders?" Rin took a long breath. For the first time in his career, he did not have an answer. Out in the darkness, The human warship remained where it was, silent, untouched. And now, the Empire had seen the truth. This was not a battle they could win. This was something else entirely, something far beyond them. The Imperial fleet did not move. Even after their systems came back online, every ship stayed in place. Engines were active again. Weapons were ready again. But no one dared to fire. Captain Rin stood on the bridge, silent. His hands were tight behind his back. His eyes were fixed on the screen. The human warship was still there, unchanged, untouched, watching. Status. Rin asked quietly. All systems restored, sir, an officer replied. Weapons fully operational. Engines stable. Rin nodded slowly. And the enemy? The officer hesitated. No change, sir. It has not moved. That made the silence even heavier. Rin took a step forward. They could have destroyed us, he said. No one argued. They had all seen it. The fleet had fired everything they had. Full power. Direct hits. And the human ship had taken it like nothing. Then, without any visible attack, it had shut them all down. Not damaged. Not destroyed. Just stopped. Rin looked around at his crew. What does that tell you? He asked. No one answered at first. Then one officer spoke carefully. It tells us they are stronger than us. Rin nodded once. Yes. Another officer added, and they chose not to destroy us. Rin turned slightly. Why? Silence again. No one had a clear answer. After a moment, the communication officer spoke. Sir, maybe they were telling the truth. Rin frowned. What do you mean? They said they do not wish to harm us, the officer said. Maybe they meant it. That idea stayed in the air. Rin looked back at the screen. The human warship did not look aggressive. It had not moved closer. It had not aimed weapons. It had not chased them. It had only acted when attacked. And even then it had shown control. Perfect control. Open communication channel, Rin said. The officers looked at him in surprise. Sir, one asked. Do it, Rin repeated. The channel opened. For a moment, Rin said nothing. This was not like before. Before, he had spoken with pride, with authority. Now he chose his words carefully. This is Captain Rin of the Imperial Fleet, he said. We acknowledge your warning. The room stayed silent. Rin continued. We did not understand your capabilities. That was our mistake. Some officers exchanged looks. They were not used to hearing such words from their captain. We will not engage again, Rin said. He paused, then added, State your purpose. For a few seconds, there was no reply. Then the signal returned. The same calm voice. Acknowledged. Rin listened closely. We are not here for war. The words were simple, clear. Rin felt a strange feeling again. Not fear this time. Something else. We are observing. Observing what? Rin asked quickly. A short pause. You? The answer was direct. The officers looked at each other. Why? Rin asked. To understand. The voice remained steady. To decide. Rin's eyes narrowed. Decide what? There was a longer pause this time. Then, if you are a threat. The words hit hard. Rin felt it. For the first time, the Empire was not the one judging others. They were the ones being judged. Rin straightened his posture. We are not your enemy, he said. Your actions suggest otherwise. Rin had no immediate reply. They had attacked first. They had ignored the warning. They had assumed victory. And they had been wrong. Rin took a slow breath. That will not happen again, he said. Silence followed. Then the voice spoke once more. We will remember that. The signal ended. The bridge remained quiet. No one spoke for several seconds. Finally, one officer broke the silence. Sir, what do we do now? Rin looked at the screen one last time. The human warship was still there.
Still calm.
Still powerful. But now it felt different. Not like an enemy.
Not yet.
We leave, Rin said. The officers looked surprised again. Sir, one asked. We have seen enough, Rin said. We return to command. Yes, sir. The fleet slowly began to move. One by one, the ships turned away from the human warship. No one fired. No one looked back. Back at Central Command, Commander Hale received the full report. He read every detail carefully. The failed attack, the total shutdown, the communication. When he finished, he closed his eyes for a moment. They showed restraint, he said quietly. An officer nodded. Yes, sir. They had absolute control, and they did not use it to destroy. Hale looked up. That is not weakness, he said. No, sir, the officer agreed. Hale turned toward the main screen, where the image of the human warship still remained. That is power, he said. Real power. Not loud, not reckless, but controlled, measured, and far beyond anything the Empire had faced before. Hale crossed his arms. We are dealing with something very different, he said. The officer nodded slowly. What are your orders, sir? Hale did not answer immediately. He looked at the image of the warship again. Then he spoke. We listen. The Empire had always believed that strength meant domination, that power meant control over others. But now they were beginning to learn something new. Something unexpected. True power did not always destroy. Sometimes, it simply chose not to. The Imperial fleet returned in silence. No victory reports. No celebrations. Only a long, quiet journey back to central space. The officers did their duties, but something had changed inside them. They had faced an enemy they could not fight. And worse, an enemy that chose not to fight them. Captain Rin stood on the bridge, looking at the stars as they passed. His mind replayed the moment again and again. The attack, the failure, the voice. We warned you. The words stayed with him. Sir, an officer said softly. We are approaching Central Command. Rin nodded. Prepare full report. Yes, sir. At the Empire's command station, Commander Hale waited. The High Council had gathered again. This time, the room felt heavier. No one spoke loudly. No one laughed. They had already seen part of the report, and it had shaken them. The doors opened. Captain Rin walked in. He stood straight, but his face showed the truth. This was not a proud return. Report, the oldest council member said. Rin did not waste time. We engaged the human warship as ordered, he said. All attacks failed. The target showed no damage. Murmurs spread across the room. Rin continued. The warship disabled our entire fleet without visible weapons. All systems were shut down instantly. How? One council member asked. We do not know, Rin answered honestly. The room grew quiet again. Losses? Another asked. None, Rin said. That surprised them. None, the council member repeated. Rin nodded. They did not destroy us. Now the silence felt different. They had the power, Rin said. They chose not to use it. Commander Hale watched closely. He already understood what this meant. What happened next? Hale asked. Rin took a breath. We established communication. The room leaned in. They said they do not want war, Rin continued. They warned us again to leave. And you obeyed? One council member asked sharply. Rin looked directly at him. Yes. Some members looked angry. Others looked uneasy. They also said something else, Rin added. What? Hale asked. Rin spoke slowly. They said they are observing us. A few council members frowned. Observing? For what purpose? Rin's voice became more serious. To decide if we are a threat. That statement hit the room like a shock. The Empire being judged. It was a new and uncomfortable idea. They dare to judge us? One member said angrily. Hale raised his hand. Enough. The room fell silent. Hale looked at Rin. You made the correct decision. Some council members turned to him in surprise. You support retreat? One asked. Hale nodded. Yes. Because we would not have one. No one argued. They had seen the report. They knew the truth. Commander, the oldest council member said, What is your recommendation? Hale thought for a moment. Caution, he said. And communication. Before anyone could respond, Commander, a technician rushed into the room. We are receiving a new signal. Everyone turned. From the human warship? Hale asked. Yes, sir. Put it on the main screen. The room darkened slightly as the screen activated. The signal appeared, clearer than before. Stronger. Audio ready, the technician said. Play it. The voice returned.
Calm.
Controlled. Unafraid. Empire. The use of their name made everyone still. Your actions have been recorded. Hale listened carefully. You attacked without understanding. No one spoke. We responded with restraint. The truth was simple.
Direct.
This will not happen again. The tone did not change. No anger. No threat. Just certainty. We do not seek conflict. A pause. But we will not allow aggression. Hale stepped forward slightly. What do you want? He asked. For a moment, there was silence. Then the voice answered. Peace. The word echoed through the chamber. Some council members looked confused. Others looked suspicious. Peace, one whispered. After this. The voice continued. You may choose cooperation or opposition. Another pause. Choose carefully. The signal ended. The room stayed silent. No one moved. No one spoke. After a few seconds, one council member broke the silence. This is a trick. Another nodded.
Yes.
They are trying to weaken us. They are testing us, a third said. Hale listened, but he did not agree. They already tested us, he said quietly. The room turned to him. And we failed, he added. That stopped all arguments. They had complete control, Hale continued. They could have destroyed our fleet. They did not. He looked around the room. That is not a trick. The oldest council member leaned back in his chair. Then what is it? He asked. Hale answered simply. A choice. The Empire had always taken what it wanted. It had never been given a choice like this before. Fight or cooperate. Dominate or understand. Hale looked at the dark screen. They are not afraid of us, he said. That was the truth. For the first time in centuries, the Empire had met someone who did not fear them. And that changed everything. Now the next move was theirs. And whatever they chose would decide the future of the entire galaxy. The message spread across the Empire faster than any fleet. At first, it stayed inside the command station. Only high-ranking officers and the High Council knew the truth. But secrets did not last long in a system this large. Soon, whispers began. Then rumors. Then fear. They say one human ship stopped an entire fleet. They say it moved without engines. They say it can shut down ships without firing. They say there are more. The last rumor spread the fastest. Inside busy cities, people gathered in small groups, speaking in low voices. Traders paused their work. Pilots checked their ships again and again. Even soldiers looked uneasy. The Empire had always been strong, unstoppable. But now, for the first time, doubt had entered the minds of its people. Back at Central Command, the High Council was divided. The large chamber was no longer calm. Voices were louder now. Arguments were sharper. We cannot accept this, one council member said angrily. A single ship threatens us, and we talk about peace. It did more than threaten us, another replied. It proved we cannot defeat it easily. Then we bring more ships, the first shouted. More power. Commander Hale stood quietly listening. That will not change the outcome, Hale said. Some members turned toward him. You cannot know that, one argued. Hale met his gaze. I do. Explain, the oldest council member said. Hale stepped forward. That ship did not use full power, he said. It disabled our fleet without damage. That shows control.
He paused.
If it can do that to 10 ships, it can do that to 100. The room became quiet for a moment. And if there are more ships like it? Hale added. No one answered. That was the real fear. Do we have any proof of more ships? One council member asked. Hale shook his head.
No.
Then we assume it is alone, the member said quickly. That would be a mistake, Hale replied. The argument started again. We cannot show weakness. This is not weakness. It is survival. We are the Empire. And they are something new. The voices grew louder. The oldest council member finally raised his hand. Enough. Silence returned, but the tension stayed.
We must decide, he said.
War or peace? At the same time, deep in the Empire's intelligence division, new reports were coming in. Agents had been studying human space for years. But now, everything felt different. A young officer rushed into the analysis room.
We found something, he said.
What is it? The lead analyst asked. Old data, hidden records. Show me. The screens lit up. Images of human worlds appeared. Busy cities. Large structures. Space stations. Nothing unusual at first. Then the data changed. Zoom in, the analyst said. The image focused on a distant area of space near human territory. There, something was moving. Large shapes. Not one. Many. The room went silent. Are those ships? Someone whispered. Yes, the officer replied. How many? The officer looked at the data carefully. We don't know exactly. Estimate. More than 50. The room froze. Impossible, the analyst said. The officer shook his head. The readings matched the same energy pattern as the warship. That meant only one thing. They were the same type. The same impossible design. The same overwhelming power. Send this to Commander Hale immediately, the analyst ordered. Yes, sir. Back in the council chamber, the argument was still going on. We must strike first. We should negotiate. We cannot trust them. They have shown more control than us. The doors suddenly opened. A guard stepped in quickly. Commander Hale, urgent report. Hale turned. Send it here. The main screen changed. The new data appeared. The room went silent instantly. What is this? One council member asked. Hale stared at the screen. Multiple ships, he said quietly. How many? The oldest member asked. More than 50, Hale replied. A shock ran through the chamber. That's not possible. It cannot be. But the readings, someone whispered. Hale crossed his arms. They are not alone, he said. The truth was now clear. The ship they had faced was just one of many. Fear spread across the council. If one ship could stop a fleet, what could 50 do? No one spoke for a long moment. The Empire had always believed it was the strongest power in the galaxy.
But now,
that belief was breaking. The oldest council member leaned back slowly. His voice was quieter now. We may have made a serious mistake. No one disagreed. Far away, in the dark silence of space, the human warship remained still. But now, it was no longer alone. More ships waited in the distance. Hidden. Watching. Ready. The Empire did not know their full strength yet. But they were starting to understand one thing. This was not just a single threat. This was a force. A force that had been quiet for a long time. A force that had grown in the shadows. And now, it had finally revealed itself. The galaxy was changing. And the Empire was no longer in control. The Empire could no longer ignore the truth. The reports were too clear. Too many ships. Too much power. The idea that humans had built only one advanced warship was no longer believable. Inside a quiet intelligence room, the lights were dim. Screens showed hidden data, old recordings, and intercepted signals. Analysts worked carefully, trying to understand what they were seeing. A senior analyst named Cole stood in front of the main screen. He had studied many alien species before, but this case was different. This is not normal development, he said. His team listened closely. What do you mean? One of them asked. Cole pointed at the data. Look at the growth rate, he said. Their technology did not develop slowly like others. It increased very fast. The screen showed a timeline. For many years, human technology had been basic. Slow progress. Small improvements. Then suddenly, everything changed. In a short time, Cole continued, they jumped ahead by centuries. The room stayed quiet. That is impossible, someone said. Cole shook his head. Not if they had help. Help, another analyst asked. Yes, Cole replied. Or pressure. The team looked confused. Cole changed the display. This is human history, he said. They have faced many challenges.
Wars. Disasters.
Survival conditions. He paused. Species that face extreme pressure sometimes evolve faster. The screen showed images of human conflicts, harsh environments, and survival struggles. They did not grow in peace, Cole said. They grew under stress. That explains development, one analyst said slowly. But not this level of power. Cole nodded.
Correct.
This alone does not explain their warship. He zoomed in on a section of data. But this does. A new set of information appeared. Energy manipulation, Cole said. Space control. Instant movement. The team leaned forward. These are not random inventions, he continued. They are connected. Connected how? Someone asked. Cole took a deep breath. They focused on survival, he said. Not expansion. Not conquest. He pointed to the screen again. Every technology we have seen from them seems to serve one purpose. Which is? The analyst asked. Cole looked serious. Protection. The room grew quiet again. They did not build weapons to attack first, he said. They built systems to defend themselves. And that ship, someone asked. Cole nodded. That ship is the result of years of survival. He paused. A species that has survived constant danger becomes very hard to defeat. Meanwhile, in a different part of the Empire, Commander Hale sat alone in a quiet room. He was reviewing the same data. His expression was calm, but his mind was working fast. A knock came at the door. Enter, he said. An officer stepped in. Commander, we have another update. Hale looked up. Speak. We have received a new transmission from the human vessel. Hale's eyes narrowed slightly. Play it. The officer activated the signal. The familiar voice returned. You are searching for answers? Hale listened carefully. We understand your concern. The tone was still calm. Still controlled. We will share something with you. That was new. Hale leaned forward slightly. You have seen only a small part of us. The words carried weight. There is more. Hale remained silent. Much more. The message paused. We are not your enemy. A short pause. But we are not weak. The signal continued. We have survived what others could not. Hale's eyes focused sharply. And we learned from it. The voice remained steady. We do not seek war. But we are ready. The message ended. Silence filled the room. Hale leaned back slowly. Confirmed, he said quietly. The officer looked at him. Sir, they are not a new species, Hale said. They are a developed one. The officer frowned. What does that mean? Hale stood up. It means they have experience. He walked toward the window. They have faced challenges and won. He turned back. And they're still standing. The officer nodded slowly. So what do we do? Hale thought for a moment. We stop assuming, he said. The officer waited. And start learning. Back in the intelligence room, Cole finished his analysis. He looked at his team. This is not just about power, he said. Everyone listened. This is about survival. He pointed to the final data on the screen. Humanity did not become strong by conquering others. He paused. They became strong by enduring everything. The room stayed silent. And now, Cole said quietly. He looked at the image of the human warship. They are ready. Far away, the human fleet remained hidden in space. Ships were silent, but active, waiting, watching, ready for anything. The Empire thought they were facing a single unknown ship, but the truth was far greater. They were facing a species that had been tested by time itself, a species that had learned, adapted, and survived. And now, that species had arrived in the galaxy, not as conquerors, not as invaders, but as something far more dangerous, a force that understood war, but chose when to use it. And the Empire was only beginning to understand what that truly meant. The Empire stood at a turning point. For the first time in centuries, the High Council was not united. Fear and doubt spread through the chamber like a slow poison. Some members wanted war. Others wanted peace. And a few wanted answers before making any decision at all. Commander Hale stood before them, calm but serious. The situation has changed, he said. No one interrupted. We are no longer dealing with a single unknown ship, Hale continued. We are dealing with a species that is capable, advanced, and prepared. The room remained silent. The question is not whether we can fight them, Hale said. The question is, should we? A council member leaned forward. If we do nothing, he said, they will see it as weakness. Another member replied quickly, and if we attack, we may lose everything. The debate began again. Voices rose. Opinions clashed. But Hale did not join the argument. He simply observed. After some time, the oldest council member raised his hand. Enough, he said firmly. The room quieted. We must decide now, he continued. Not based on fear, not based on pride, but based on reality. He looked at Hale. Commander, present your final recommendation. Hale took a moment before speaking. Do not engage in war, he said clearly. A few members looked shocked. Explain, one demanded. Hale walked slowly toward the center of the room. The human ships have already shown restraint, he said. They disabled our fleet without destroying it. That is not something an enemy does without reason.
He paused.
They are not acting like conquerors, he continued. They are acting like guardians. Guardians, someone repeated. Yes, Hale said. Guarding themselves and possibly something else. What? Another council member asked. Hale looked directly at them. The galaxy. A wave of silence spread through the chamber. Commander, the oldest member said, that is a serious claim. Hale nodded. I know. He turned toward the main screen. We must consider this possibility, he said. What if they're not trying to take over, but to prevent something? The room grew quiet again. Prevent what? Someone asked. Hale shook his head. I don't know. That was the truth. And the truth made the situation even more uncertain. Meanwhile, in another part of Imperial space, a fleet was already preparing. Some commanders did not agree with the council. They believed strength should be shown, power should be used, and weakness should never be allowed. Admiral Kren stood on the bridge of a large warship, looking at his fleet. They think we should stand down, he said. His officers listened. They think we should accept this unknown force without a fight. He shook his head. That is not the Empire. We follow orders, sir, one officer said carefully. Kren turned sharply. Orders are made by those who are afraid, he said. The officer said nothing. Kren looked back at the stars. They disabled a fleet, he said. That does not make them gods. He clenched his fists. It makes them a challenge. Sir, another officer spoke. The reports say they have more ships. Kren smiled slightly. Then we will find out. He turned to his crew. Prepare a strike group, he ordered. We will not attack first. The officers looked confused. But sir, we will observe, Kren said. We will study them and strike only if necessary. He paused. If they are truly as powerful as they claim, his eyes narrowed. We will see it. Back at Central Command, Hale received a new alert. Commander, an officer said urgently. We have movement. Hale turned quickly. Show me.
The screen changed.
A smaller Imperial fleet had entered the same region as the human warship. They are not part of the main fleet, the officer said. Unauthorized movement. Hale's expression tightened. Who is in command? The officer checked the data. Admiral Kren. Hale's eyes narrowed. That is not good. Should we recall them? The officer asked. Hale shook his head slowly. We cannot control them. He looked at the screen. Now, we will see something important. What do you mean, sir? Hale replied calmly. How humans respond when they are tested again. Far out in space, the human warship detected the incoming fleet. No alarm sounded. No panic. Only awareness. Inside the ship, systems activated quietly. And for the first time, the human fleet began to move. Ships that had been hidden in the darkness slowly revealed themselves. Not in attack, not in fear, but in response. A new signal was sent across space.
Clear. Simple.
And final. This is your last warning. The message echoed through the void. Do not approach. Admiral Kren saw it. His fleet slowed. For a moment, even he hesitated, because now it was no longer just about power. It was about understanding what came next, and the galaxy was holding its breath. The new Imperial fleet stopped at the edge of human-controlled space. Admiral Kren stood on his bridge, staring at the distant stars. His fleet was powerful, well-trained, and ready. Yet, something felt different this time. Not fear. Not exactly. But something close to it. Any movement from a human side? He asked. No, sir, an officer replied. They are holding position. Kren narrowed his eyes. Good. Then we are still in control of the situation. But even as he spoke, a small doubt lingered in his mind. On the human warship, silence filled the command area. There were no loud commands. No rushed movements. Everything was calm. The captain, a man named Leon, stood at the center of the bridge. His face was serious, but steady. Status, he asked. All ships in position. A crew member replied. Leon nodded. Prepare systems. A few seconds passed. Then, Admiral, a communication officer said, we are receiving another signal from the Imperial fleet. Leon looked at the screen. Play it. Admiral Kren's voice came through. This is Admiral Kren of the Imperial forces, the message said. We request clarity. What is your intent? Leon listened carefully. Then he replied, we are here to protect. The words were simple,
Clear.
but strong. Back on Kren's ship, the response caused confusion. Protect, one officer said. From what? Another asked. Kren did not answer immediately. He watched the human ship carefully. There was something strange about it. Something controlled. Something certain. Sir, an officer said, they are not moving. I see that, Kren replied. Should we engage? Another asked. Kren paused. In the past, he would have said yes without hesitation. But this was different. The humans had already proven something. They could stop an entire fleet without firing a shot. That was not something to ignore. No, Kren said slowly. His officers looked surprised. No, one repeated. We wait, Kren said. If they're a threat, they will show it. Then it happened. The human fleet began to move. Slowly at first, then faster, but not toward attack. Instead, they spread out, positioning themselves in a wide formation around the Imperial fleet. A trap, or something else. Kren watched carefully. Report, he ordered. We are surrounded, sir, an officer said. But not attacked, another added. Kren leaned forward. What are they doing? He whispered. Inside the human command ship, Leon gave a quiet order. Activate demonstration. The crew responded immediately. Systems powered up. Energy built across multiple ships. But still, no weapons fired. Back on Kren's ship, alarms suddenly went off. What is that? He asked. Energy readings rising rapidly, sir, an officer shouted. From where? Everywhere. Kren's eyes widened slightly. The human fleet was doing something. Something big. Show me, he ordered. The screen changed. Energy fields began to form around the human ships. But these were not attack signals. They were controlled, focused, and powerful beyond anything the Empire had ever seen. Sir, an officer said slowly. This energy, it's stabilizing. Kren frowned. Explain. It's not aimed at us. Kren watched closely. The energy built, and then it stopped. For a brief moment, everything went still. Then, with perfect coordination, the human fleet released a controlled pulse. Not a weapon strike. Not an attack. A demonstration. The pulse spread across space in a massive wave. It passed through Imperial ships. And then, everything stopped. On Kren's bridge, systems began to fail again. Lights flickered. Controls went unresponsive. But this time it was different. Nothing was damaged. Nothing was destroyed. Everything was simply paused. Sir, an officer shouted. We're losing control again. Kren grabbed the console. No damage. No, sir. Kren froze. That was the key. They could destroy. But instead, they chose to demonstrate. The human voice returned.
Calm. Clear.
This is what we can do. The message echoed across space. Without harm, Kren listened carefully. This is your warning. The voice paused. Next time, we will not hold back. The message ended. On Kren's bridge, silence filled the room. No one spoke. No one moved. Finally, Kren spoke. Power systems? They are restoring, sir, an officer replied. Kren leaned back slightly. His mind was racing. This changes everything, he said quietly. Back on the human ship, Leon watched the Imperial fleet carefully. No aggression. No attack. Just silence. Status, he asked. All systems stable. A crew member replied. Leon nodded. Good. He turned slightly. They understand now, he said. Far away, Commander Hale watched everything from Central Command. He saw the demonstration. He saw the reaction. And for the first time, he understood. This is not a fight, Hale said quietly. An officer asked, Then what is it, sir? Hale looked at the screen. It is a message, he said. The Empire had just witnessed something new. Not destruction. Not conquest. But controlled power. A power that could end everything.
But chose not to.
And, in that moment, the balance of the galaxy shifted. The galaxy felt different after that moment. News of the demonstration spread through Imperial space like a silent wave. There were no battles to report. No victories. No losses. Only a single truth that could not be ignored. The humans had shown their power. And they had chosen not to use it to destroy. At Central Command, the High Council gathered once again. The room was quiet. No shouting. No arguments. Only silence. Commander Hale stood at the center, facing them. We have seen enough, he said. The council members looked tired. Some looked worried. Others looked deep in thought. What is your conclusion? The oldest member asked. Hale did not hesitate. They are not here to conquer us, he said. And they are not here to destroy us. Then what are they here for? Another council member asked. Hale looked at the screen, where the human fleet was still visible in the distance. To decide what kind of galaxy this will be, he said. The room stayed silent. Far away, Admiral Kren sat on his bridge. The fleet was fully restored now. Systems were stable. Power was back. But everything felt different. Report, he said quietly. All ships operational, sir, an officer replied. Kren nodded slowly. Any damage? No, sir. Kren leaned back in his chair. That was the part that stayed in his mind. They had the power to destroy his fleet completely. But they did not. Sir, an officer said carefully. What do we do now? Kren looked at the stars.
For a long time, he did not speak.
Then he said, We remember this. The officer nodded. Yes, sir. Back on the human ship, Leon stood quietly on the bridge. The crew was calm. The mission was complete. But something important remained. Any response from the Empire? He asked. No hostile activity. A crew member replied. They're holding position. Leon nodded. Good. Another crew member spoke. Sir, should we continue observation? Leon thought for a moment. Yes, he said. But carefully. He turned toward the screen. This is not just about strength, he said. It's about understanding. In Imperial space, fear slowly began to change. At first, people were afraid of the unknown ships. But now, that fear was being replaced by something else. Respect. And confusion. Because the humans did not act like enemies. They did not attack without reason. They did not chase power for conquest. They controlled it. And that control was far more dangerous than destruction. In a quiet corner of the Empire, two officers spoke softly. I don't understand, one said. Why didn't they destroy us? The other thought for a moment. Maybe they don't want what we want. What do you mean? We want control, the second officer said. They want stability. The first officer frowned. That's not the same thing. No, the other replied. It's not. Back in the High Council chamber, Hale made his final statement. We must make a choice, he said. Everyone looked at him. We can continue as we have and prepare for conflict.
He paused.
Or we can choose to learn from them. Some council members looked uncomfortable. Learn from them, one repeated. Yes, Hale said. The room grew quiet. Because if we ignore this, Hale continued, we risk repeating the same mistake. And what mistake is that? The oldest member asked. Hale answered simply. Underestimating them. The council discussed for a long time. Hours passed. Finally, a decision was made. We will not attack, the oldest member said. A few nodded. But we will not surrender either, another added. They agreed. Instead, the oldest member continued. We will observe. We will communicate. And we will prepare, but not for war. For the first time, the Empire had chosen restraint. Outside the Empire, the human ships began to withdraw.
Slowly.
Quietly. Not in defeat, but in completion. Their presence faded into the darkness of space. But their message remained. Commander Hale stood alone after the meeting ended. He looked at the empty chamber. The Empire was changing.
Slowly.
Uncomfortably, but surely. And somewhere far away, the humans were watching, waiting, learning.
Just like the Empire.
Because now, something new had begun. Not a war, not a conquest, but something far more powerful. A connection, a question, and a future that no one could predict. The galaxy was no longer the same, and the Empire had finally met something it could not control. But for the first time, it might not need to.